everybody. Brian Terrian here with Mark Shiorowicz. Today we're going to talk to you about Tricare, Medicare, what they are, what the difference is there a place for one or another to complement each other? So Mark, thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so and if somebody's out there on Tricare, we're going to cover the basics and bear with us. We don't want to, lull you to sleep right away, but we are going to get into like what Tricare is, how it works with Medicare, because there is a possibility for individuals to pick up some extra benefits from what I've learned, and that's why we've invited Mark out here today. So Mark, Tricare, health care for veterans. Who is eligible for it? Like,
So
let's start there.
Tricare is for people that are currently active in the military and their spouse. So they do not have Medicare. They're still working effectively in the military.
Okay, so they're not out. They're not
So
retired. They're just. I got it. Okay.
yep. So they're not. So our services are not relevant to them at this time. When they retire, they're or honorably discharged after 20 years or more in the military. This does not apply to people that are in the military for 2 years or 4 years or 10 years. It's 20 years or more. Once they retire, their Tricare converts to Tricare for life. Now, what their Tricare for life is for them or their spouse is basically additional Medicare coverage or additional coverage to Medicare. So in order to have Tricare for life benefits, you have to be enrolled in Medicare Parts A and B. Now, where the confusion comes in is VA benefits, because VA benefits, so Tricare for life is basically complete and full coverage. There's no real premium. There are no co-payments or cost sharing. It's pretty much between Medicare and Tricare for life. It's covered, and that's a benefit that you get for devoting your life to protecting the country. Now, if you were in the military but not a career military, and you just have VA, then that's different, and we can talk about that if you want. But we'll stick to Tricare for life at the moment, or for the moment. So Tricare for life, of course, includes health coverage in addition to what or above what Medicare covers, and also prescription drug coverage. So as you probably know, or as you know, you cannot enroll in more than one Part D prescription drug plan. And Tricare for life is pretty much considered a Part D drug plan. And so what ends up happening if you sign someone up for or if someone enrolls in a Medicare Advantage plan with prescription drugs, it can cause trouble and kick them off of Tricare for life. And once you're off of Tricare for life, it is nearly, I guess, impossible to get back on Tricare for life. I would say it is impossible, but there are always exceptions to all the rules. But the point is you don't even want to risk that and worry about that. So if someone has Tricare for life and they ask to enroll in a Medicare Advantage prescription drug plan, the answer definitely should be no, unless they absolutely know what they're doing, which of course would never make sense. So no one really should do that. Now, there are Medicare Advantage plans that are called MA-only plans, Medicare Advantage only, which means that they are a health plan but do not include prescription drugs. Now, you can, or a Tricare for life beneficiary can enroll in a Medicare Advantage only plan without prescription drugs, and really the health plan of the MA only does not come into play really at all, because they're already having everything covered. What does come into play is the additional benefits, such as the Medicare Part B buyback, if there is one, or the little bit of dental, vision, hearing, over the counter, all of those things that we have discussed previously. So really what you're doing is signing them up for, or they are enrolling in a Medicare Advantage only plan to get those extra little benefits.
Okay, I got it. Well, I want to make sure I've got it because this is important. So, somebody that is on Tricare for life, they're out of the military, they're not in active service, um, and in order to be on Tricare for life, they have Medicare Part A, Medicare Part B, right? Um,
Yep.
And so the caution that you have advised is that because TRICARE for Life has a Part D, if you will, like prescription drug, is that one would not want to put them on or suggest, or should they even suggest on their own to go on a traditional Medicare Advantage plan that has that, because it will knock them off, right?
It has the significant potential to knock them off. Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
I would say comfortably that it will knock them off,
okay,
but you never know. It's
okay.
just not worth the risk, that's for sure.
Not worth the risk, and I don't see any advantage of them doing that. So the MA only plans have, as we have discussed in other work, there's at least 10 benefits in there that they could possibly take advantage of. Um, Actually, 11 with the potential buyback. Okay, so back to TRICARE for Life. For Medicare Part B, which is currently the 135.50, so they would need to have the 135.50 would be what deducted from their. How would that be paid for?
Yeah, so they're required by TRICARE to have Medicare Part A and B. So that will all be, if they have TRICARE for life, then you already know that they have Part A and B. And so yeah, so that's already um, that's already going, and so that premium would be deducted from their Social Security check
Okay,
or their government retirement, whatever they have.
so it would be deducted from somewhere, right? Okay,
Yes. Yep.
so
Yep.
they possibly could still be meet the special help exemption, if their income and assets or income met a certain criteria that they could avoid paying for the 135.50, or is there any special nuance for veterans that would avoid that?
Well, so in my experience, and again, I'm an N of one, but I do have a lot of experience in this. I have never personally run into someone that has TRICARE for life that is also receiving extra help or state or financial help, because usually their pension is more
Hmm.
than whatever the cutoff point would be, anyways.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
usually, I mean, if you've worked for 20 years for the federal government, your pension's probably going to be pretty nice,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you've had many years of a nice income with great benefits and things like that. So it's
I got you.
yeah,
I got you.
pretty uncommon.
So another point of clarity would be helpful when somebody, the common thing that we hear is they use the VA for their
Yeah.
health care. So if somebody says that, would that mean that they have TRICARE for life, or could
No.
no?
So actually, it is so because of all of the wars and military action, basically since the first Desert Storm, and also with Vietnam vets getting a lot older, and of course Korean vets older. There are only a handful of World War II vets left, but the VAs are typically really really busy. And so if you have TRICARE for life, you do not have to go to VA physicians. You can typically go outside the VA.
Hmm.
The people that you're probably running into most frequently are just veterans that are not career veterans. You know, there are a heck of a lot more people that spent 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 years in the military than there are people that spent 20 years in the military. So most veterans are not career military. Most of the people that you see in the TV commercials and that they may have been in the military for 4 years. I mean, that's really the most common scenario. And so what they would have is VA coverage, but the VA coverage, because of all of the veterans, is really tightening down. Like there are a lot of people that have spent 4 years in the military that are not even eligible for VA benefits because they were in the military during non-war times or they were never deployed, XYZ. So there are some veterans that, and I'm not talking career military, I'm talking just people 2 or 4 or 6 years, whatever, that might not have any benefits at all through the VA. Now, people that do have benefits through the VA, they do not need Medicare Part A and B when they're eligible. They will, they can take A, but they don't need B. And so the way that you treat those people is, so if they go to a VA doctor, a Medicare Advantage plan is not going to cover them. If they get a prescription written out by a VA physician, they typically cannot take it to Walgreens. Now, of course, there are exceptions to this. People that are fully disabled through military service, they have a lot more benefits than someone that broke their arm during a training mission, so and never saw combat. So there's a lot of different things. There are also people that have specific injuries during combat, like maybe they lost a kidney or something during Vietnam. Well, if they break their arm, the VA is not going to deal with that. The VA is going to say, we're only going to cover you. And again, I'm speaking in generalities, the most common scenarios. There are exceptions to everything, as you know, with the government. But if you lost a kidney in Vietnam and you have skin cancer or you break your arm and it's completely unrelated to anything that happened in the military, the VA is probably not going to touch it. They're going to tell you to go to a civilian doctor like everybody else. And so what normally happens, because what used to happen 15, 20 years ago, is that people would have Medicare Part A only, and they would go to the VA for everything. But now that we have a lot more people aging into Medicare, and the VA is getting more and more busy, and the wait times are longer and longer and longer, what you see is people that have Medicare Parts A and B, and they'll go to the VA whenever possible because it's cheaper, but they will go to regular local doctors whenever possible. And actually, sometimes with co-payments and whatnot, it's cheaper to go to a local doctor and a heck of a lot faster than to go to the VA. And if a doctor in your local clinic in your neighborhood fills issues a prescription, you can't get it filled at the VA. So really, the VA, and again, this is totally separate from Tricare for Life, but the VA and regular Medicare Advantage plans do not overlap at all. So you basically can treat someone with VA if they have Medicare Parts A and B as though they have no other coverage, and now you sign them up or they enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan, and now they have 2 choices. They can go to the VA if they want, if the VA will cover whatever is going on, or they can go to a local doctor. And interestingly enough, sometimes a prescription is cheaper at the VA than the local pharmacy with a Medicare Advantage plan, but sometimes the prescription is cheaper with the Medicare Advantage plan than at the VA, and so the Medicare beneficiary or the person enrolled in the Medicare Advantage plan and the VA can kind of use both to sort of maximize their savings.
Okay. This is cool. I think I'm getting some clarity here. So I think this is what's on my mind right now, Mark. If somebody is career military, that's pretty easy with a few questions. If they had a 20-year career and they retired and they've got benefits associated, with that, that's Tricare for Life. Sound correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, but most of the population that we are dealing with, I agree with you, is not that way. They're going to the VA because it costs less, and they could be going to the VA and not be Medicare eligible as well, is also possible. All right. But if they're going to the VA for coverage and they are Medicare eligible, then they could take advantage of a full-on Medicare plan or a Medicare only plan, Medicare Advantage only.
Um,
Does that sound right?
yeah, I mean, there are very few times, not including Tricare for Life, just in regular world, most common scenario. There are very few occasions where MA only plan makes sense.
Okay.
There are some, but yeah. So most people with VA benefits, non-career military would choose an MAPD because that gives them the flexibility to go to local doctors and local pharmacies. They don't have to worry about refilling prescriptions or going to VA doctors if they don't want to.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah. If somebody is on TRICARE for life, I mean, do they have like a specific card, like they're holding a card that says, like a Medicare card that says TRICARE for life?
Yeah, typically they'll have a Medicare card, but then also a TRICARE for Life card too.
Okay, okay. All right, that's great. Um, so to recap, if you're out there and you are using the VA, we've broken down the two differences. And in either case, whether you are on TRICARE for Life or you're just using the VA, you could pick up additional benefits of dental, vision, hearing. These are possibilities. Transportation, gym membership. You could pick up over-the-counter feature where you can get up to $20 a month in brand name goods at a local drugstore. Um, you can get assistance if you want to quit smoking, nursing hotline, health and wellness coaching, mail order drugs. I'll throw in Part B buyback there too. That's 11. So these are all possibilities in addition to what you are currently using, whether it's either TRICARE for Life or the VA. Wow. Okay. Did I leave anything out, Mark?
No, no, just the one the one big difference between VA and TRICARE for Life is that with TRICARE for Life you can go to pretty much any doctor that you want as long as they accept Medicare. With VA benefits only, you can only go to VA doctors, which is why it makes sense uh, to add on a Medicare Advantage plan for non VA physicians, local doctors, civilian doctors.
Got it. Total flexibility, right? So they're not subject to what may be a wait at the VA, right?
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
and the VA wait times are now supposedly pretty long. We get a lot of veterans that are upset about that, and when you can add in a Medicare Advantage plan for little or no additional cost, many of which the co-payments are little or nothing. So to see a primary care physician, so it gives them the best of both worlds, the most options at minimal or no additional cost.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, this will make a difference for a lot of people. I thank you so much. For those of you that are listening out there, to explore these options and get some help, of course, you can go out to Medicare.gov and dig around and look, or you can have it done for free here. Just scroll down and click on the green button and complete the general information that's required for a Medicare expert to go through, get back to you, and review some options and show you the plans that are available in your specific area. So, fantastic, Mark. Thanks again for investing the time and helping others out there understand this. And thanks to all those that are listening. Appreciate it.